Alright, so we are going to talk about averages, weighted averages, grade point averages, and all that good stuff. But before that, I want you to talk about just a bit um, about problem solving, right? So you would have previously, and you will in future, come across many word problems, right? Where you have been given a statement, and you have to extract the information from it, and then formulate a solution for it. So what I'm going to do is that we're going to go through the process of solving word problems formally, right, and give you some step-by-step instructions of how would you want to do it really. Okay, so when you have been given a word problem, the first thing you want to do is that read the statement of the problem, right, and sort of just go through it once, like really quickly, right? So don't try to understand the specifics of it or exactly what is going on there, but just go through it, sort of skim it one time, just get a general idea of what is being talked about, right? What is the domain that the question is on, and just things like that very quickly. Yeah. So once you do that, then you want to read it again for the second time, and this time you want to identify the unknown quantities, right? So all the unknown quantities, and you want to assign some suitable names to it. Yeah. So, for example, you have been in a word problem. You have been asked to, for example, find the velocity. Yeah. So you want to find the velocity. It would make sense to name this unknown variable as v, because v would represent velocity, right? Or anything like that. So think of a representation of the quantities and the unknown quantities, and just assign name to it. So that would be the second step. Okay, so as the third step, right, you would want to know that how many unknown quantities you have, right, and also give them their representation or their names, right? So try to find all the unknown quantities in this question and list them. Okay, so that would be really your step three. Okay, in step four, what you are supposed to do is that if you can sort of make a sketch of it, or even if it's not on paper, you can sort of make a mental model of it, right? So you use both the known and unknown quantities, and you try to ask your question: what have I been given, and what have I been asked for, right? So I didn't think, how can you possibly find the information that you have been asked for? Okay, so in step five, you are doing the most critical part of the word problem solving. Okay, because in this you have to analyze the statement of the problem and come up with the equations, yeah, from the question. Okay, and I have to admit this is pretty much the most difficult part of any word problem, right? Because there is so much room for error, and there's so many things that can sort of go wrong, and you might not understand them right. So this is the most important. You have to be really careful. You have to read the problem many times very carefully to make sure that you understood it right. Okay, and then you are going to convert the analysis you had from the word problem into mathematical equations. Okay, so this would be the most critical part. Okay, so once you have the equations, then it's pretty straightforward. You have to solve the equations. You know the rules of mathematics. You have to make sure that whatever operation you do, right, you have to do it to both sides, both the right and left hand side. And as long as you do it to both sides, any mathematical operation, which means adding something, subtracting something, dividing something, everything is valid unless you do it from, I mean, until you do it on both of the sides. Okay, so that's really the whole point of it. Okay, so once you have found your answers by solving the equations, the step number seven would be for you to verify that what you have done is right and you have not made a mistake. So it's quite easy to make mistakes in these situations. So you want to avoid that. How you're going to do it is that whatever you have found, the values that you have found, you would want to put that back into the equations, right? You would want to put the values you have just found back into your equations and solve them again, right? And see if they still hold true, right? If they give you the right answers. And if they don't, you know you got some calculations wrong or something, and you have to go back and check it again. Okay, so for this, let's look at an example. Okay, so let's see, I'm being told that Jack was 12 years older than Ali. Okay, and together their ages totaled 158 years. What were their ages? Okay, so just one time I just skimmed through it, just didn't think about it too much, but just understood what is being asked for. So now I know I'm being asked of ages, and I have been given some information, and I have two entities in it. Okay, I'm gonna now for this time I'm gonna read it pretty carefully. Okay, so Jack, we have two people, Jack and Ali, and they both have uh, um, we're talking about their ages. Okay, but before that, let's assign variables, right? Because pretty clearly that is what we will need. We will need to find ages for both of these people. Yeah, so let's find representations for it, right? We could write just the complete names, Jack and Ali, but that wouldn't be ideal. So we would want to limit it to just one character. Okay, so think about it. Yeah, we can represent Jack with J, the letter J, and we could represent Ali with the letter A. Okay, and so we just did that. Okay, so now let's think about it. Let's make a diagram of it in a way, right? So definitely Jack is older, okay? And that is being clearly stated to us in the first sentence of the problem, right? Jake is older. Jack was 12 years older, right? So no, we know. So we can just sort of draw that up. Okay, now we have to come up with the equations, okay? So the first thing we have been told is J is 12 years older than Ali, which means if I add 12 to J, then it will be equal to A, right? Uh, um, or because Jack is, sorry, I think I got it wrong. So Jack, see, this is the problem. You have to be very careful about it. It just happened. I was trying to analyze who is older, who is younger. I mean, who is 12 years more older, and I got it wrong. So because Jack was 12 years older, so to make them equal, you're trying to write an equation, right? So to make them equal, you would want to add 12 years to Ali, right? To A, in order to make it same as J, right? So this would be my first equation. What I'm going to do is that I'm going to add 12 to A, and once I've done that, right, so A is younger, I've added 12 to it, and now they are of the same age. Now add A plus 12 equals to J. Okay, so I just found my first equation. Okay, so you saw there how you can easily get confused, right? Or you can get it wrong. It's pretty easy. So that's why you have to rethink about it. You have to look at it twice, and you have to verify. The verification step that we will be doing soon, that's very important to make sure that you've got the question right. Okay, so second equation, we clearly know that the total of their age is 158. Okay, so if I add both of their ages, which means A and J, both of them, I will get 158, right? So I've got my second equation. Yeah. So now what I'm going to do is that let's find it. So I'm going to write both of my equations, and I can use one of the two methods that we have talked about it previously. There's a solve method and there's a substitution method, right? So what solve does is that what so I'm going to try to solve this problem by trying to use the substitution method, right? The second method that we have talked about previously is called the addition method, right? So we add both of the equations together, and that cancels some of the terms out, and we can find our answers through that. But in this case, let's use substitution. Okay, so what I'm going to do is that I'm just going to simply take one of this equation. Okay, so let me just take this equation, my first equation. Okay, and let's find one of the value, right? So let me find the value of A. So if I want to find the value of A, what I have to do is that I have to get rid of 12 from this side. In order to get rid of 12, what I have to do is I'm just going to simply transfer it to the other side, and in the process, the sign of it, which is positive in this case, it will become negative, right? So what I get is it will be negative 12. So it's right here. A will become to J minus 12, right? This 12 shifted to the right side, and the sign became negative, right? This is of course the same as adding a negative 12 to both the sides, right? So the right hand side and left hand side, if I add a negative 12, the negative and positive 12 will get cancelled on the left hand side, and on the right hand side now I will get a negative 12, right? So this is the idea. So I have a equals to j minus 12, okay? So I have the value of a as such, right? So now I can put this into my second equation. Here is my second equation, okay? So what I'm going to do is in the place of a, I'm going to substitute for its value. So now a became j minus 12. Remainder of the equation just remains the same, j equals to 158, okay? So I have this now. So j and plus j, so 1j plus 1j equals to 2j. Then I have 2j's, right? And equals to 170. How did I get 170? So it's through the same method. I had transferred the 12 to the right hand side. So I'm going to do the same here. In order to make sure that j is isolated on the left hand side, I have to get rid of the 12 here. So in order to get rid of 12, I have to transfer it to this side, yeah? And once I do that, it will become positive, so it will be 158 plus 12, and that would be equal to 170, yeah? Now to get rid of the 2, I just have to divide by 2 both sides, right? So 2 85s will be equal to 170, so I got my answer, which is uh, j equals to 85. So I got it. Now what I can do is that I have found the exact value of a, okay? Now I can just simply put that into my next equation, okay? So I'm going to take this equation, which is a plus 12 equals to j. I can either take that, or I can take the a plus j equals to 158, right? Any of them, and I can just simply plug this value there, right? So if I put it in the number 2 equation, it's going to be simple as that. I'm going to say 73, I'm sorry, 8. I'm going to substitute the value of j with 85, and this is going to give me 73, okay? So if I put the value of j, which is 85, in here, right? So this will become 85, right? So now what I have to do is to find a, is I have to subtract 85 from 158, right? And once I do that, what I am left with is 73. Sorry, I just messed it up. Yeah, so I am just left with 73. All right. So I have 73. Now I have to go to the next step, which is checking this out, right? So in order to check it, what I'm going to do, I can just simply put both of the values, a and b, a and j, into my equation, okay? So if I put it here in this equation, right, I'm going to see, I'm going to try both the equations. So 73 plus 12 equals to 85, yeah? And if you actually add them up together, they both will be 85, right? So 85 equals to 85, so the statement holds true, right? So that means I have verified it. Similarly, in this case, I can put the value of a and j, 73 and 85 here. I'm going to see that they both equal, when you add them up, they equal to 158. So I can sort of confirm that, yeah, they are right, yeah? So this is a verification step, and I think it's very important because it makes sure you have not made any mistake or any sort of typo or calculation error, right? Which can happen. Okay, and once you've done that, then you can simply state your final answer. So in this case, we can say Ali is 73 years old and Jack is 85 years old.